Hi, everybody. A very big hello to everyone. Today we are having an art talk, which is a revealing of the truth of the Cubism by Peter Gressman. He is an art critic, he's a curator, he's an Artforumuae founder, an amazing art writer, as well as an art consultant. So he's been with Art for You Gallery supporting us, and personally, I know him since from 2016.
His journey to art started in his tender childhood, where his father was his inspiration. He was faced with choice of career, but his passion to art and travel made him visit museums around the world. He did so for 35 years of his life. After his father's death, he decided to turn his passion of art into a profession and joined an art dealer, and later his path led him to USA, where he managed to convey some works of art of great collectors and discovered some collections. He is always there for Art for You Gallery and our artists by lending his thoughts and voice to art. He is a specialized dealer in sale of museum quality artworks, concentrating on Impressionism, post war modern, Cubism, and contemporary art from 19th to 20th century. We are really honored by his support.
So today, as a part of the Le Cubisme, the Cubist exhibition, we have decided to have this art talk. And as you all know, this Cubism was perhaps one of the most complete and certainly the most radical and influential art movement of 20th century. Many of us know about Cubism. We have done the studies about it. We know the history of it. We know the deep knowledge of doing the Cubism in different aspects. But we may not know certain things, which definitely we'll be happy to hear that from Peter, and he's going to reveal the truth. So let's welcome Peter to our art talk. Thank you so much for being here, all of you, and we will wait for his turn to start. Thank you. Hi, Peter.
Oh, hi, Jess. No, thank you for your kind words. And I will say hello to everyone in this talk. And I will try to bring Cubism on the right way today, because when you look in the history, and everybody can look today into with internet, with Google, you can Google who is the founder of Cubism, and you will get the answer. It was Pablo Picasso. But this is not true. When Cubism came up, there was a very young man. He was only 17 years old when he started as an illustrator for trance magazines. His name was Jose Victoria Gonzalez, and his later his artist name becomes Juan Gris. Juan Gris was called the architect. Why he was called the architect? Because he changed from Dadaismus and all this art styles that was before Cubism in clear lines, forms, and in geometrics. And he used still lifes to do so. When you see, I hope you can see, everyone can see.
Yeah.
This is still life. There is a pipe, there is a table, there is a palette, and he used often music instruments. The music instrument, especially the guitar, was the main point in Cubism. Cubism means clear lines and geometrics. When Juan Gris started with this, Pablo Picasso stuck still in his blue period. This was in 93. Picasso ended the blue period in 96. And when he met Juan Gris, who was also from Spain, like Pablo Picasso, but Juan Gris moved to France because his work was to illustrate magazines in France. So he moved to Avignon. And Pablo Picasso met him in 2006, 2007 in his house, and he admired the works of Juan Gris, the beginning of Cubism, and because he was much more known also in this early time than Juan Gris, so people think that Pablo Picasso was the founder of Juan Gris, of Cubism. But this was definitely Juan Gris and the time of Cubism, and also with the death of Juan Gris in 1927. In the late 50s, Picasso started to do Cubism again, and he painted for harlequins in Cubism, because also the harlequin was a main point of Juan Gris. And he copied, Picasso copied exactly the harlequin that Juan Gris did already in 1912. As some of you know, I am involved in a big art project about Cubism. We found more than 100 unknown works by Juan Gris in an Arab country. That's also the reason why I come here, because I want to bring it back to an Arab country. And normally the time ending, but one work of Pablo Picasso, his most important work, Guernica, is, for example, painted in Cubism. I think everybody knows Guernica. Some other names are, big names are George Braque or Marcel Duchamp. They do Cubism in an abstract way, very similar when you look at the paintings. And when you start to compare paintings between the big names of Cubism, you will find out that one copy the other. You can't say today who copied Picasso, Picasso maybe copied Braque, Braque copied Duchamp, and so a lot of similar works are on the market in Cubism. And this is what makes me happy with the exhibition Le Cubisme from Jesno, that a lot of you bring Cubism on a new way, and it was time for this. And this is what I pray always to artists: don't copy. Please find your own way. There are many ways to impress yourself in Cubism. Elena, for example, do it on a good way with the tiles behind as a background of her painting. And Shobha did it with this traditional Indian way. Varsha did it on a very young, modern way. And so the truth of Cubism is that Cubism exists, but it sleeps for a long while. For a long time, it sleeps. And yeah, I hope that I will bring this Cubism exhibition with more than 100 works by Juan Gris and some goodies from Marcel Duchamp and Pablo Picasso one day to UAE in the Louvre for an exhibition or for a long time, or maybe they will push it. This is why I found it in 98, in 2008 Artforum UAE during a stay here. I met one of the most known artists from UAE first. It was Fatma Abdullah Lotta, and she trusted me and my person and in my knowledge, and so we start Artforum UAE. And so now I am ready with my side, so please, when you have any questions, let me know.
I would just like to ask Mr. Peter, having seen this exhibition regarding Cubism, before this, did you see an evidence of a lot of Cubism? Because I did not see until Jesno has made this as the subject of our exhibition. All I knew of Cubism was what I had studied in art regarding Picasso and Braque and Wang Gries, like you said. So have you seen evidence of Cubism of late? That's my question.
Cubism is, for example, Leger, or also Kandinsky did some kind of Cubism. So Cubism is it's a very modern style that fits in every household, in every collection, you know. And this was the revolution in 96, 97, 1912 when it comes big, that it was a very modern style. And the people was tired about still lives in old fashion. So when we start to make still lives in a very modern way, he used geometrics, he used line, and he used also doodles. When it began, you can see it here. You see?
Yeah.
So he brings the still life in a very modern form with many other influences by doodles, by lines, by geometrics. And that's why they call him the architect. And this is not known that Juan Gris made always the sketch on the canvas before he colored it. So when you go in deep into the Cubism, you will find out, especially as a founder, that he often used also, he put his book sites in. He is the founder also of collages. What called, when you, let me see, maybe you can see this painting. This is the X-ray from a work by Juan Gris. So we did the X-ray and we find out that he put first the sketch before he put the colors on the canvas. Maybe it's also a way for you to put first the sketch and then you can change. Also with the colors, you can change also the sketch. And this is a good way to learn and to paint about, because once it's sure, you need very clear lines in Cubism and geometric forms, also round forms, but that it was not often used by Cubism artists, only when they paint an abstract, Cubism in abstract. Then there was a lot of round forms in, and that's the way to do Cubism.
See, Harni, actually, there are a lot of artists who are painting on themes or painting on their own, different styles. They may not be thinking about Cubism in that time. They will have something else in your mind, and you just follow that. But you will have a lot of things in your painting. It can be Impressionism, it can be Cubism, different type of moments which you will go through. But maybe you are not purposefully looking into it, or you are not, you know focusing that particular element. So as you said, when this was a topic, when I put up for the exhibition, that's when everybody was looking whether we had these kind of work, or whether this particular artist does these work, or whether artists are having these kind of collections. So that's how we realize sometimes.
This is I think this is normal when an artist start to paint. Of course, he used forms, he used lines, and then he put all these things in his mind, he put together on a canvas. So it comes out that there is maybe a Cubism element, an abstract element, and photorealistic element. And this all together makes the artwork. So you can't put the real style in when many styles come together. When I have the feeling, yes, there is a part of Cubism or the part of Cubism is higher than the part of abstract, then I call it a Cubism artwork. And this comes out of the mind of the artist, which style dominate at least in his artworks. And this is a way artists prove themselves and learn different styles and bring different styles together. It's not only Cubism, it's abstract, it's Impressionism, Expressionism, it's Dadaism, it's all in one. The point when I call a work a Cubism artwork is when Cubism dominate the painting. Even there are other styles in. And this is how we, or me as a critic, give a name to the artwork and give a result as it's a Cubism artwork.
Anyone has any other questions? In the impact of Cubism, as you said, it's like, you know, it's a range, it's a wide range, like Futurism, Dadaism, Supermanism, Constructivism. So, but many artists, they are not aware of what type they are doing it. So, what do you say about it? Like, do they have to do that particular research, or how they have to go about it? How they know what type of Cubism they are doing? See, many only generally they know, like they start with the abstract or modern art.
It's always important for an artist to do research and to find out, for example, what is Cubism. I'm sure there are many artists outside that have heard from the style Cubism. Hi, Sultana. From the style Cubism, they heard first because of you, maybe. And so my advice is is always to make a research before you start to try a style. But important is to find your own style, to have your own writing. Doesn't matter in which kind of art of style you paint. You have to be always don't copy. Make research on Cubism work, for example, by Picasso, by Duchamp, by Braque, by Leger, by Kandinsky. They made it in a very modern way in forms. So do a research and then take your influence from this, but go with open eyes to your life. See, make your own experience and start to paint out of your mind. Don't take a photo from the Cubism work, put it by side, you saw it, then start to paint. And if a Cubism artwork comes out, it is wonderful. But it has your handwriting and not the handwriting of other artists of big names. It must have your handwriting.
Hi, Miss Sultana. How are you doing?
Are you just know dear?
So welcome to the Art Talk, ma'am. We have just started off a few minutes back. The theme, the talk is all about the Cubism, the truth.
Yes. How did Picasso stumble on this? I mean, you know, that is what really has fascinated me.
What do you mean?
I mean, how did Picasso, doing his crazy things, which he does so well, he stumbled into this particular art style that whoever called it Cubism, who called it? Who was the first person?
The first person was Juan Gris.
Juan Gris, okay.
That when Juan Gris started as a 17 years old boy to do Cubism and to transform still lifes in a very modern way,
right.
Picasso stuck in his blue period. You must know that it ended in 96, the blue period of Picasso, and Juan Gris already lived in as an illustrator for France magazines in France, and Picasso met him together with Duchamp in France, And then Picasso started to do also Cubism. And I have the proof that I don't have a big photo of this. I have the proof that Picasso presented copy and real artwork by a very well-known artwork by Juan Gris. He painted it on a door in the house of Juan Gris as a wedding gift for Juan. But he copied a one-to-one painting of Juan Gris on the door and signed it Picasso. So Picasso was not the founder of Cubism. This was indeed Juan Gris. That's right. And that you can read in every history, but I hope soon we will publish our book about Juan Gris, whose story we have rewritten in the past 8 years. And soon we have a new home for this hack collection of works by Juan Gris, Pablo Picasso, and Duchamp in Cubism. We will publish also the rewritten story of Juan Gris. But this is written in the stars when we can do that.
We are here talking right now about the limitless possibilities of Cubism movement. And therefore, I have the very curious for myself question, but maybe this question will be seemed a little bit naive for professional artists, like, for example, and professional critics like you, Peter, but I will ask it. Are there any disadvantages of Cubism movement regarding, like, there is any kind of objects or subjects which by any means cannot be depicted in this style, or it's just a matter of lack of inspiration and lack of imagination of the exact artist? Thank you for your answer in advance.
Yes. When you paint a work, for example, you paint a work, you have something in your mind. And this you bring in forms. And this is what I answered before. You create in a clear architectural forms behind you. You create your vision.
I think something is wrong. We cannot hear nicely.
With the connection a little bit, yes, because the words are spread by fracture.
Peter, can you just repeat, I think, because it wasn't heard properly?
Yes. Good. Good, Elena. What I say about Cubism and the style that an artist uses, it comes out at the end of the painting. When you finish your painting, when you are satisfied with what you do in the Cubism is a pure Cubism, is architecture Cubism, because you use very, very clear forms and lines. And that's the way a work create and a work get a style. Everyone can paint in Cubism, and everybody can paint in expressionism or abstract. By one it's good, by another one is not this good. This is a normal way. But what you do, Elena, is a pure Cubism. You create pure Cubism without any influence because you did it on your own way. And this is a point that makes you or your work to a Cubism artwork.
Yes, yes. Thank you for your answer.
Welcome.
Peter, we have a question. Good reference to know about Cubism.
Yes, first of all, it's me. because this is my special field, but find out and Google, this is Chandan, Google Cubism, find the name, look, study the paintings of the big names of Cubism. And that is what I mean. When you study, you will find out a lot of Cubism and the style of Cubism. But when you paint later, I'm sure I will see the influence of some artworks of some artists. But please find your own style also in Cubism. Cubism is just the name for the style. Everybody can do it on a good or on a better way, but please find your own way to do it, and not to copy. But it's important for everyone to study before we start to paint in a style. Is it answer it, Chandan?
Yes, Peter, thank you so much. But would you still give us some references of some websites maybe which are really helpful? Or just plain?
Give Cubism in Google and you will find the websites. You can learn a lot in Wikipedia about the different styles, and today it's not a problem to find out. In my generation, we use books to read about the art styles and things. We don't have a computer or an internet or Google or something like this. You know, I had to learn it from the books.
I would suggest is the best thing is to read the books, because the books related to that, because that has the real content. Because Google, it doesn't says always the correct things. People can write, we can write. So I think it's best to read. You can go to libraries and you can also buy the books. Online, you get a lot of books based on history and a lot of things. I think that's the best one.
Okay, okay. Even I think...
You can see it behind me. There are, for this short time I'm here, a lot of books, because I still prefer to read books about art than to use Google or Wikipedia.
I understand completely.
Find books about Cubism, about any style in Amazon. Just then you have to use internet again, Google again to find the books. But when you order the books and you get the books, you will really enjoy to read a book and to see the photos in the book. It's much better than the internet or Wikipedia or something like that.
Okay, okay.
That's why Jesno do a magazine now, an art magazine now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Peter and Jesno. I know I'm a total novice, so I'll be asking the childlike question, but thank you for answering so much in detail.
Welcome.
Is there a color scheme to use on Cubism? Is there a particular scheme which we have to follow for Cubism? Because I see a lot of colors used in most of the artworks, but I see Jesno doing a monochrome. So is there something which we have to?
It's no, it's really different. Juan Gris and Pablo Picasso, for example, use very soft pastel tones, pastel colors to do Cubism. Later, Juan Gris used also very powerful colors. And Braque and Duchamp, for example, they use a lot of brown tones in their works. And so it's up to you. What you want to use it. It doesn't matter as watercolor, oil, or acrylic, and which colors. The beginning of Cubism was in very soft, very mild tones.
Neutral tones, I guess. Yes.
Like this, for example. These are very light. And Duchamp, he used very powerful browns. And it's near monochrome what Braque and Duchamp did, but you can use whatever you want. Cubism is apart the forms, the geometric, the lines. This is important in Cubism, that you can see this is clear. No? And what I say is that it was often used for still lives in a modern way. Juan Gris used the instruments and, for example, often the pipe, the smoking pipe, Juan Gris used. Picasso, then they start to make Cubism in figurative. Juan Gris made, for example, a beautiful portrait of Juan Gris, of Pablo Picasso in Cubism style, or a self-portrait. I don't know if you can see it because I have it in a very, this is, no, I can't, I think you can't see it, wait. This is a portrait. Okay, you can see it?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a portrait of Pablo Picasso by Juan Gris. No, this is the second one. It's a portrait of Pablo Picasso. This is a self-portrait of Juan Gris in Cubism. So also in figurative, you can work in Cubism. But Gris and Picasso did with harlequins, for example. The circus was a big point in Cubism also.
Thank you.
I just have something to say. Generally, movement is not depicted in original Cubism, isn't it? Only when Marcel Duchamp came with nude descending the staircase, that showed a lot of movement. But before that, movement is not a part of it, isn't it?
No, well, a movement starts always with a founding. When Cubism was founded, it goes in the history, and the movement was that it stopped, it comes up again. It started in '93 with Juan Gris and ended first with his death in 1927 when he was only 40 years old. And then Picasso used Cubism again in his most important work, Guernica. This is a Cubism work. And he tried to bring it back in the 50s, and but not with a big success. So he goes up from this movement again. So the movement sleeps for a while and comes up again. Now Jesno brings it up again with this exhibition. She bring it back, or she bring Cubism to UAE. Now, I did it 12 years ago when I start here to find a new home for my collection. But just make it, give the idea to every artist to try to paint in Cubism. And this is a way a movement goes on and goes on and goes on. Stop and come back again and again. That's the way, that's normal. This is what I said, that the movement comes up again and stop again and comes up again. It's depend of the artist who bring it forward or go forward with this art style or not. I mentioned before the artists that follow my advice to paint in Cubism, and I was surprised first, and I like the artworks very much, but when someone do always the same, and there is not a change, it starts to boring. Not only me, it starts to boring also the viewer. I can't paint 1,000 dervishes in Cubism or dancers in Cubism. I have to move myself and try other things in Cubism, not only the same. Even it may be it's sold good, but you have to go forward and not to stay on one point. As an artist, it's most important to go forward and not to stay still.
How did, like, which year exactly it became very popular? You know, it's 20th or 19th?
It becomes popular, or Cubism and Juan Gris becomes popular, and this is true because of Picasso, because Picasso's name was already known also in this early time, and this was an advantage for Juan Gris, of course, because he becomes friends with Picasso, and Picasso brings his style out to the world. What before nobody noticed that Juan Gris paint already in Cubism was noted with the fact that Picasso started in 2006, 2007 to paint 96, 97 to paint in Cubism. This is a fact. This is the truth. Picasso brings out Cubism to the people, and with him, other names like Marcel Duchamp, who was very, very old already when he started to paint, because he was also an architect. He brings out the big names of Cubism. They follow Picasso because Picasso was already in his early life an icon in art. And this is what his works make, his later works, you can see, he painted on a very abstract, ugly way his lovers in 1,000 times, all his lovers, and I will kill him when he paint me like he paint, for example, Marie-Therese Walter or his other lovers, Dora Maar and all the big names. But this is a fact that Picasso bring the Cubism on the market, but he was not the founder of Cubism. And especially you can see it when you make the proof and you compare his works with other works. You can see often that, yes, Picasso copied Juan Gris, Picasso copied Braque, Picasso copied Duchamp. And this is what you can see in the works, in the Cubism works of Picasso.
Anjula has a question just now about changing the styles to you. So my question was, if you change the styles as an artist, what category of artist would you put an artist? What does the different styles? No, who does the different styles?
But the advice I can, and I give always to all artists, find your own style. It's very, very important. Please do not copy. Find your own style. Prove yourself in every art style, in everything. You will find your way. When you are a good artist, and I can say I met a lot of good artists in the past 12 years since I founded Artforumuae. A lot of them had to find first the style, and some of them, or no, a lot of them follow my advice, and they've found the way how to paint. And this is when you want to become from a hobby artist to a recognized artist, you have to find your own style. You have to go your way. You have to go with open eyes through life, and study the styles, try the styles, bring styles together. But I want what I want from the artist that I support since years with Artforumuae. I want that I see a work without seeing a name, and I can say, okay, this is a Jesnojackson, this is a Gwyneth Paltrow, this is a Elena, or this is an Pama. I must see this. I must see your style in the work. I don't want to see any copy. I want to see own artworks. And this is what I see in the Cubism exhibition. Of course, I see the influence from which artist, the single artist is influenced. But I see that The most of you found the own style in Cubism, and this is important. This is important.
Peter, I think she had a question like what's different styles or category of the cubism you can have. Like I think that's based on the colors, the
Yeah,
relationship between a
but
paint.
this is in the mind of the artist. This is what the idea of the artist. Can he bring this idea in on a Cubism way? I can't say you can do. Of course, you can do Cubism in abstract, in expressionism, in every style. But also here is the main point: make it in your own style. Bring your ideas on a way that fits to you. That makes your handwriting. Doesn't matter if it's Cubism, it's abstract, or something else, or landscaping. Landscaping and Cubism is beautiful. Cityscaping, like to do it in Cubism, it's beautiful and it's colorful.
It's colorism actually what
Yeah.
Lightoker is doing.
Yeah, he do it on a very, and he do Cubism since long time. Not only this, when you see his abstract cityscapes, you see something from Cubism, architecture. And architecture is a ground pillar of Cubism. When you understand something from architecture, and the most artists, also today, the most artists that paint in Cubism was before or still working as architect. And it comes from architecture, from lines, from forms. That's the way, and you can change your style from expressionism when you do so far abstract, and you have no success with this. Try to bring the abstract in a Cubism form, in a clear form, not only drippings on the canvas with 1,000 colors. Everybody can do it. I can do it, and I'm not an artist, not at all, but I can do an abstract work. And I look over the shoulders of the most expensive abstract artist in the world. It's Gerhard Richter from Germany. He is still alive. But he created an artwork in 10 minutes, a $12 million artwork. This must be your goal, to be one day a $12 million artist. This is the point. This must be in your mind. But for this, you need your own style. And Gerhard Richter developed his own style in abstract. I hate his works because I know that I can do it, and I know how he do it. And that's the way. You can paint in any style. And when you see Cubism is the best way for me, do it, but do it from your ideas, not from the ideas of artists that lived long time ago, because this was a time of the founding of the thing. You have to develop now the Cubism, the style that was founded in 93, 94, 95, 14, 15, 16. You have to bring it in a modern form. That is what some of you did already. And this is a point.
Because see, one more thing, I think it's better if you want to know the different styles of cubism, like as he said, expressionism. From music, it is musicism or orphism. From colors, colorism. So you can actually do a research also, as he said in the beginning. Definitely, first important is you need to know what exactly the cubism is. Then you have to work on it.
Shobha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Peter. Yeah,
Hi.
for me, when actually I never do cubism art, and I tried doing it. That's maybe I wanted to see. For me, in my mind, what I felt was when you take a picture, when you take an image, when it is cracking up, the colors and the different types of colors and the combination of the objects which come in is what cubism is, what I thought. Is that what you say is cubism?
What you
Suppose it is disintegrated image of a person, you see, right?
yeah,
So
this
you
is what you
get
do, figurative.
yeah, different parts.
Yeah, this is what that is what I see in your Cubism painting. You do figurative Cubism. You mix it on a very well way, not on a perfect way right now because it's your first work in this style, but you use the traditional Indian paintings, traditional Indian style, and transform it into Cubism. You can make it a bit better, of course, but this is your own. This is your first work, and this is your own idea to express Cubism in your work. And this is an important point, what I want to say everyone. Your own idea, transform it in Cubism, transform it in abstract, transform it in everyone. This is the most important, that it's what makes you to an artist and not to a copyist. And this is what is very, very, very important for every artist, the own style. And you, Shobha, you did it on a very good way to transform the traditional Indian art into Cubism. And I'm sure the next one will be more detailed in Cubism and will be more better. Go and study Picasso's or also Huangri's figurative Cubism, like the Harlequins. Study how they do it and transform the Indian god or portrait, whatever you do, into Cubism, and you will see it works beautiful. It works
Thank you.
out beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. I think I should try that, and I will try to do that, because that will give me a different thinking also, that I can do something, different, rather than going into a similar way of bringing out my work.
I
Yes,
think Shobha has got an idea now. Now you have to run with it. And you have to develop.
run wild and do it.
Yeah.
Go forward and prove yourself, and it's important.
Thank you.
It has something special, I think, like light and shade, more of rays and lights onto it.
Yeah, the portrait is also in figurative, but on a more on an abstract figurative way than on Cubism way. Cubism is more clear, more detailed.
Thank you. It's very important for me to hear your opinion to my work.
Yeah, this is a point what I see. It's more abstract than Cubism. Even there are clear lines, but it's more abstract than in Cubism style. Cubism is more smaller forms, more individual forms. Here you have only the lines.
Yes.
In your work, and this is not a pure Cubism.
Work in progress. Yes. No, this is not so.
Yeah.
Only the works in the exhibition are more Cubism.
The work, what is behind you?
This is I'm working on this one.
Yeah, this is you use a figure, you use a portrait, but with some Cubism elements, that's right, but it seems more abstract than Cubism. In Cubism, more highlights in forms and circles, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I would like to hear your opinion about my work also.
Some of my works like this.
This I remember.
Yeah, and then
of course, yes, there are Cubism forms in
this one.
Yeah, you use always the figurative style also in abstract and in Cubism. So, for me, a work with faceless people are people that are not here anymore, that are far away. I can impress this in every style. And a lot of, especially also from India and Pakistan, a lot of people do that. They do it on this way. You put it more in the modern way, that you use the clear forms of Cubism.
Yeah.
This is a good way.
Just because this particular one was called the March, it is a group of people because together they represent a movement. So they're together. They're
But
going
for me,
towards.
they represent the movement in direction of heaven.
Oh, that's nice.
People that do not exist anymore because they have no face.
Yeah.
You know, and every people or every person that goes away from me, when I would paint it, they have a face because I have the face in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, even they are 20 years or 25 years ago gone, I have the face in my mind. And this, as an artist, I have to bring this, when I express this, I have to bring it on the canvas or the paper or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You want to bring the soul of the artist, soul of the person depicted into the front of the picture rather than being camouflaged. That's what you mean.
Right.
According to Peter, Peter says that you need to bring face on the canvas or whatever. So that means that what is the difference between an abstract and a face, a portrait face which is being there? That means they are two different, I know. But why do you say then when abstract they don't have any faces? Then why people love abstract?
An abstract must not be faceless.
Right.
You can do figurative abstract with faces. This is not a problem. Baratakwa, for example, did it on a very good way. All his abstract figures have also faces. And there is nobody that is faceless. And that's the point. It's my opinion. It must not be the opinion of every viewer or art lover or art knower or art collector. Maybe they like it faceless. I don't like it. For me, this paintings makes me scary, honestly, because I become scary that I will lose the faces of my beloved ones that I have let to go. You know, and when I express this in a painting, I want to see the face. I want to see the soul, and I don't want a dead painting. A faceless painting made a painting dead. Looks like that. That's
the structural logic is not visible without the face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that means there is if there are faces, that means there are expressions. There are I feel that there is something meaning to it when you see with a face with all the things. That's what I feel. Maybe that is right. Is that what you say?
Yeah, this is what I want to say. That must have a soul. Also, a painting have a soul, and this must be the soul of the artist, of the creator. I have to see his soul in this.
Exactly.
And when I see only faceless people, where is the soul? Where is the soul? Where is the soul gone? In my imagination, up to the sky or up to the hell, or don't know. But I can't see. For me, it's a dead painting with no emotion. That don't give me emotion. It makes me thought, but it don't give me emotion. And that's the point that an artist have to reach. He have to reach. He have to catch the viewer. It doesn't matter in which style. It is an abstract thing. You have to catch the viewer. You have to make the viewer thinking, and that's the point that makes a good artist. And especially in times of Corona, I see the development of many artists that make development in amazing directions. Like Jesno, for example, with her coffee paintings, they are amazing. Or Ahmed Rukni, he improved his pop art again and again, and he became better and better and better. And to see this I want to see from every artist that I support, that I mention, that I speak with. I love to help and I love to give my advice. And I love it much more when people take my advice.
Thank you. That was very frank, and I will really keep note of that. Thanks.
Welcome. Welcome.
Peter, Manjula has a question. What do you think about certain dark or negative paintings? Are these kind of paintings works appreciated in the art field?
Dark art is a fascinating thing. I love it. Really, I love it when someone can express his minds and accept with a dark painting his own dark side. Because in all of us is a dark side. Every one of us have a dark side, have dark minds sometimes. And to bring this on a canvas, it's beautiful. It's not dark, it's nothing, it's beautiful. It shows yourself. Do it. When you have the feeling, you have to do some kind that is not normal. Do it. Paint it. And if it's dark, it's dark, but it shows your inside. You express yourself with all your sides. If you are happy, if you are think. There are some artists I can see on the cubism or abstract works. I can see in which mood they are when they paint this work. If they are in a dark mood, in a normal mood, or they are very happy. You can see it. You can see it on the colors. You can see it on the foams. You can see it on everything. And this is the point. When it comes out a dark work, don't put it away. Show it. Show the side of you. Good.
There is an input from Chitra that somebody asked which book is good. She says John Golding, his book on Cubism is very good. It has interpretations and analysis about different philosophy of Cubism. As it's always good to read on the philosophy of art. That's how you get the deeper knowledge of it. Yeah, I think Alice from Philippines. She says from Pablo Picasso, is there any artist invented, aside from Pablo Picasso, is there any artist invented Cubism? Because I just know Pablo Picasso through my cousin in France. She was addicted by Pablo Picasso paintings. I think she missed your first part of it. If you can just reply to her.
We can just give the names that around Pablo Picasso. Then this is Braque. This is George Braque, Marcel Duchamp, Juan Gris, Ferdinand Léger, and later on in a more modern form of Cubism, like Elena did it. This reminds more on Léger or Kandinsky than on the old artists like Gris and Picasso. So there are many artists, not only known artists, also not this much known artists you can find. Yes, that's it.
He just answered your question. There are many other artists. It's not just Pablo Picasso. So he said that you can actually do a research on it because there are several artists who is doing Cubism. I think
I will write the names in the chat.
Yes, he will put it in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can see Lavanya joined, Rajesh, Gayatri. See, if anybody of you have any questions, could you please, either you can ask or you can put it in the chat message.
Peter, I want to go back to the faceless paintings. Is that okay with everybody?
Say it again.
The faceless paintings that people do.
Yeah.
That you don't like very much. I remember telling you what it was all about.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, in the Islamic religion, drawing faces is haram. Means it is against the religion, because making statues with faces is also haram, because they believe that it can lead to idol worship in the case of the sculptures. And in faces, in the paintings also, they believe that the artist was so fabulous those days, you know, not that they're not now, but they used to make these pictures so wonderful that they used to fall in love with their own paintings. and the figures that they used to make. So this was one of the things of making sure that you don't turn into an idol worshipper, that Islam then brought about the law saying that you cannot draw faces. You can draw the form, the human form, but not the features on the face. So you find a lot of the artists who are Muslims follow that rule, especially in Pakistan, I noticed. They make the figures, beautiful figures, but the face is always an oval with no features at all on them. If you see the old Persian miniature paintings, they have faces, but it's the more contemporary artists who want to follow the strict law of not painting features. I don't know, Ahmed, do you have anything to put out on this figure and this subject?
Yeah, but Sultana, then I do not understand the 10,000s of portraits of Sheikh Zayed, for example, because normally when I go after the law, I can't do a portrait painting of an Islam person.
Well, yeah, of course, all the sheikhs, they have their faces painted now. But as I say, you know, I found that having lived in Pakistan, I found that people were more staunch and more correct to the book. They would follow each word by word, what was written, and they followed it. And a lot of artists, a lot of the diplomats that I knew and their wives who used to paint, they would make beautiful painting, but they would not make the features on those figures at all. I had to, you know, when I first noticed that, I used to ask them, why don't you make faces? Why don't you make the eyes and nose? And no, this is haram. We're not supposed to make, we are Muslims. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, but this must be a very, very old law, and that's how
it's an old law. It's an old law, but then nobody really followed it until recently, when everything became very, very staunch, and everyone wanted to follow. Like they started growing beard. In my time, the men didn't have beard. One or two old
then
people.
I wait for it. Then I wait for a facelift portrait of Sheikh Zayed. Who will do it?
Never.
Never.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yes.
But that's the way. And,
yeah. So you know, we are different here, but there's some very staunch people there who are very determined. And they make even their children, as soon as they start growing beard, they make them keep it, and which I think I don't like facial hair. I don't know about you girls. I don't like facial hair on men, and neither women. So anyway, that's part of it. And so you find that a lot of the older, you know, people in the 50s and 60s who are painting, they make it without any features. They make beautiful paintings. The actions and everything is, the stance of the figures are beautiful. They can use any color they want. There's no restriction to that. But the features is something that they say, no, you can't do it because it's haram.
Yeah, but this is the point. Yes, they use beautiful forms, beautiful colors.
Beautiful.
And then this one, especially when they do several persons on one painting, then you have 6, 7, 8, 9 golden fingerprints. It looks like fingerprints in the face or something.
Yes, it's true. And yet they draw animals. They can draw animals and birds.
I don't say that this is a bad point. This is a bad painting. No, it's good in forms and everything, in colors and everything, in texture. It's very good. But the point is that the face is a fingerprint for me.
Peter, I think Chitra has something to add on to what Ms. Sultana was saying. Yeah, please go ahead, Chitra.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, from my understanding, like every individual has their own preference to what makes an artwork relatable to them. So, I can completely relate to what Peter was talking about. Seeing a face does make things become more real and more relatable, more humane in many ways. But there's also the idea that the human face and the human body alone does not define the human experience. So, especially coming from an Indian background, I feel we give a lot of importance to the idea of the soul and how the body is just the dress that the soul changes. So, coming from that background, I can also understand how uh, the need for a human figure is not completely imperative for me to relate to a visual stimuli. Like when I see colors and forms, I can also look beyond the absence of a recognizable human face to see the emotions and the ideas and philosophy within the artwork. So again, it is a very subjective and qualitative idea, and it differs from every person. But I can see the merit in both sides, though.
Yes, of course, I can see also both sides of this. But for me, it's this a soulless person, and the point is not that this is of bad works that I didn't say, but the point is that many, especially as Sultana said, many artists from India, from Pakistan paint on this way. Maybe it had to do with the belief.
Mm-hmm.
But I was confronted first time here in UAE with this kind of painting, with this faceless kinds of painting. We don't have it in our Western art. We don't have paintings like this.
Well, abstract expressionism is all about the absence of form, and it's actually absence of any recognizable form. Forget the human face. So I don't think it is solely an Eastern idea. Maybe the origins are Eastern. However, in the West too, it has been accepted. But it does boil down to individual preference at the end of the day. Like, you know, every artist has the right to paint whatever they want.
Of course.
And every viewer, like you and I, we also have the right to like what we like. Like I too individually, on a very personal level, I find artworks with faces and human figures more relatable. Because that's what I grew up seeing in my storybooks and, you know, just the atmosphere that we're exposed to. So, of course, that is true. But I'm just trying to see from different perspectives and seeing that there is merit to different arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that for me, it was not a question of belief or anything because I am not a Muslim. It was more to do with the concept that I was trying to portray. That the form itself was not important. The features were not important. The collective whole that depicted the idea of a transition from I don't know, kind of urban rural setting to an urban setting, and how the human gets lost in the urban chaos.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to show. So that's why I didn't put faces.
Well, in that case, I think you completely succeeded because, you know, Peter and all of us, we did pick up on the fact that there was an absence of human form. So your idea of the human form being lost in the chaos, that really came across. So I think that's kudos to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chitra. And there is a question. Are there any famous contemporary artists who use Cubism in their works? How do their approaches to Cubism differ from that of the artist in 1900s? Should I repeat it?
Contemporary, I say it's a new word because contemporary means art of the time. So in any time, it was contemporary art, not only in Cubism time in the 19th century, in the 20th century. They start to use contemporary art for art that not really someone understand, like collected trash behind glass and a cigarette, an empty cigarette packet on a string hanging from the wall. This is when people start to use the word contemporary art, when artists like Beuys, for example, comes up. with the stupid art that they sorry for the word, but it's a real thing that some artists piss in a bottle and say this is art. And then the curators of our time start to use the word contemporary art. Contemporary means nothing else than art of the time or modern art. Like in every decade of our life, was Cubism in this time contemporary art? Was reactionnaire, was revolutionnaire, was making people thinking. Contemporary art in the 21st century is, for me, in most time, trash. I do a very good example on the world on the Art Dubai in 2018. I think that I read about a broken garden chair that someone put in the gallery and say this is art. And you know, Hitler, for example, in Hitler time or in the time of Second World War, Cubism art was burned because it was not normal art. There was in this time was landscapes and portraits of known people was art for the Nazis, for example, and modern art was burned by the Nazis a lot, or stolen and things. And this is contemporary art is in all century contemporary art was normal. Cubism is contemporary art of 1903 to 1927 or 1930. And Picasso's Blue Period was contemporary art because he used only one color. This was contemporary. This was modern in this time. And this is contemporary art, nothing else.
Like, you know, about the artist you like in Cubism, if you can say a few words about that artist. Your favorite artist in Cubism.
Of course, is my favorite artist is Juan Gris, because Juan Gris I study for more than 15 years now. And I study all his artworks, and I also find out I was the one that discovered that Juan Gris also did, for example, sculptures that nobody knows. Sculptures in Cubism is that what Baratakwa does today.
Yeah.
He used Cubism for his sculptures and mix it with abstract. And he didn't know that before I told him this is a Cubism poem. So he learned about Cubism, and that's the point. Of course, I like the works of Marcel Duchamp, who did known only 48 artworks, and then he stopped and became an alcoholic because it's like the most of you today, nobody wants to sell his art, to buy his art. And so he became a drinker, and he did only 48 works and known works. And these works are all around the nature museums around the world. Me and my team, we found work number 49, and it's a monumental work of Marcel Duchamp. I would like to say it's his most important work that he ever did, and nobody knows it. And this is a point. Braque did it wonderful. In later time, Ferdinand Léger, that he put Cubism in a very, very, very strong, clear, modern form. Or like also Vasily Kandinsky in part of his works did in Cubism. And this is what I mean. It comes up again and again. And sometimes it's noted and sometimes it's not noted. And you just know it's noted today in UAE or in the art community around you. Is Cubism? No. For a lot of the artists that participate, was Cubism the new team and the new task to, and I see that some do amazing results and should think about if their way goes in direction also in Cubism, but never stay on one point. Go forward, go forward, go forward. Develop your own style, your own Cubism style. And this is the most important, and I think this is a best way to close this.
Peter, one last question. That's a personal question. Like, you, is it cubism the kind of art you would like to add more in your collections? Like, or what? If not, which kind of art? So
No,
it's a
when I think about my own collection, I have parts in Germany in a store. When I start to collect art, I buy what I like. I do not ask for price or something like this. When a painting catches me, it doesn't matter in which style it is. When it catches me and I want to own it, I buy it if I can buy it this time.
And do you have it? Do you have any special favorite art pieces that has it in your permanent collection, or you still?
I have a lot of paintings, but it's in many different art styles. There is no style that I would say it's a special style. No, I have. I like art. I love art, and when a painting catch me, doesn't matter in which style or if it's a mix of styles.
So I have a question that just connected to it. Like, how do you determine, like, which pieces of art, let's say if it's cubism, to exhibit at the gallery? So which pieces that you will determine? Like,
Out of your collection now, out of your exhibition.
No. See, for me the ways are different working, but as for you, like, how do you determine which pieces of art in cubism to exhibit at the gallery? Like, what type? There are different styles, and you can pick it from the examples, from the works which you have seen, even from our exhibition. Like, I just wanted to hear from you.
To explain the whole styles and the whole kind of cubism, I have to exhibit in a gallery more than one artist, of course, because every artist has his own style, even they are sometimes similar. You have to exhibit more than one artist. And when I will do today an exhibition and tell the story of Cubism, of course I will start with the beginning and go up today. For example, when I will do an exhibition, for example, in Louvre with Cubism artworks, I would really start with works by Juan Ries over Leger, over Kandinsky, and go to some of your artists, for example, to show the development of Cubism from the beginning to the 21st century to today. And to explain Cubism and how artists understand Cubism, you have to exhibit different artists. I hope that Louvre, Abu Dhabi will understand one day what I have with this collection, and they will purchase as a stock for Louvre Museum, because they didn't understand that they need a stock. When they have this stock and this unknown collection of artworks, Louvre Abu Dhabi will become one of the most important museums in the world, and Cubism will have a renaissance, will have a new platform. And I'm sure that a lot of artists that, for example, in my groups and in my field, I think it's more than 10,000 artists at the moment, they will adopt this style for themselves and try to become a good Cubism painter. And this to show that this artist not copy old-fashioned Cubism from Braque, Picasso, and Duchamp, and to show this is the new way of Cubism. For example, by Sopa, by Varsha, by yourself, to show, yes, Cubism still exists, but in another way, in another form, from other people. And maybe your name will mention once in 50 years and 70 years ones on the side of big Cubism artwork painters. Picasso will be one day forgotten, and the new names will dominate the art scene in 100 years, and maybe your name is beside on this. There are some names, I'm sure, they will dominate
Thank you,
art
Peter.
scene in 100 years. Okay.
Thank you. And I think everybody had a good time and nice conversations. And we might have taken a lot of outcome in different angles. Lavanya, yeah, I think Elena, yes.
I would like to know the Mr. Peter's opinion about the Russian artist Kazimir Malevich, who is very famous by introducing his, he actually had a lot of paintings with different shapes, but the most one which brought, I can say, a scandal to the artist environment is a black square. I already know that Mr. Peter, you do not appreciate the faceless paintings. What exactly can you tell about this? Do you actually count it as a cubism painting, or it's not even cubism, it's just a minimalism of one single shape?
It's a minimalism of one single shape, especially by Malevich and also by Malev. From Russian. This could be a new team for you, Jesno, to study and let your artists paint in the style of minimalism in like Malevich and Malev did it. And a lot of Russian painters are painting in minimalism, and I love the Russian art. I love it. It's really good. It's really good.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, dear.
Okay, I think it's time to wind up, and I feel that everybody has got some ideas. You can develop your ideas to, instead of standing in one perspective, you can look into a different angle and work on your works in much better ways on what you have done in this exhibition. And anybody else who have not participated, definitely this is right time for your change, and you shift your style if you want. So I think we had a nice time, Peter. It was very knowledgeable. Thanks a lot for sharing your insights on this theme. Please do contact him. And Sultana ma'am, it's wonderful to have you in the session. We missed you in
Thank you.
last
I
2
tried to
days.
make it up. I tried to make it up for the past 2 days. I just felt so awful. I thought, oh my God, I'm missing such a wonderful, interesting subject. I love Cubism, and I really wanted to be very much part of it. I'm glad I got through today. So thank you very much for making this platform for all of us to take part in it. Just know you're great.
Thank you,
and thank you. And thank you to Peter for his invaluable all the information. My goodness, there's so much for it in it for us to digest. But enjoyed sitting at this meeting. Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you,
and
Ahmed.
congratulations to all the artists.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jesno.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
joining us,
Peter
and
Sultana.
also to the artists who have asked
It's
questions.
good.
Thank you, Jesno, to make it possible for me to have this talk, and thank everyone to attend, especially Sultana. I enjoy always talk with you and have you on my side. And yeah, let's do it again soon.
A lot of things are going around when you have so much creativity around you. So I feel I will go ahead and do a lot of art talks related to this, and we can have more conversations, and I want your support.
We are all yours.
You always have.
I will be there for you whenever you need.
Thank you. And there is a message from Lavanya. I think many of them are not able to get the mic connected. So she says, she sent a message saying that thank you for this wonderful session. Got a better perspective about this interesting art style. She says thank you to Peter.
Welcome.
Enjoy. See you all.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. And
Thank
bye.
you. See you.